What's good, y'all? Back at it again. And unfortunately, I had to take down my last stream because I received a copyright notice for some reason. I don't know what it was, but I just decided to take the video down. I don't feel like going into depth about it. So it is what it is. We're just going to keep it moving. But there's a lot of rumors right now. There's a lot of sources that are saying that Fight Night may be in the works, believe it or not. Don't believe me? Come and actually read this. Michael Benson is reporting that EA Sports have reportedly given the green light for a new Fight Night boxing game and started early development. It's claimed that their new UFC game will take priority, and so work has been paused. But there is a plan to revive Fight Night franchise, according to at VGC underscore news. Well, what's up, Jalik the leader? What is up? What is up? Well, let's talk about it, man. I mean, think about it, like what a boxing game would do, like for the entire sport. Like, believe it or not, this generation, like the whole youth, are like into video games. Streaming. I even have my own channel, a Twitch channel, believe it or not. But I'm not gonna go into it or like post any links. You know what I mean? But it would be beneficial if there was a boxing game, and the fact that uh, a bunch of kids that never even knew some of these boxers would come in and actually like learn about the sport and actually look at the fighters that we have today. So let me see here because I would love to chop it up with y'all about this. Posted the link in the chat, y'all, if y'all want to chime in on this, because I'm pretty sure that y'all have some pretty deep thoughts about a boxing video game. Because a boxing video game would do a lot for boxing right now. Because nothing right now is attracting the youth. I mean, we got a lot of top prospects. We got a lot of youthful energy. Like at 135 pounds and excuse me, certain weight classes. And when I look at certain weight classes, man, like they're not exactly touching well uh a certain like you know what I mean, like a certain audience. And they're not really like relating to them and shit, besides IG, like besides what they post on Twitter and Instagram and like what they're really into, you know. But a boxing video game, man, that shit would be amazing. Like, think about it like this. Imagine uh, one of your little cousins, your little brothers, picking a character like Joe Joyce in the video game. You know what I mean? And they start to really follow him in real life. Because they loved picking him. Like spamming the jab button for some reason, and that's how they're able to get away with a lot of stuff. Like a lot of broken characters. The boxing game, ES Sports boxing game looks great. And isn't it different than EA? Yep. There's another boxing game too, believe it or not, Jalik, that ESBC, I think that's what it was. And then there was another one like a couple years back that I used to actually follow, and I thought that they were actually going to be a thing. It was called Round for Round Boxing, but I haven't heard from it in a while. But ESBC, that's supposed to be another thing. You know what I mean? Esports. I forgot how you called it, but ever since like those two like particular series came up, I noticed that EA Sports, man, like decided, you know what, we might actually focus on this game right now since boxing right now like is in a renaissance, believe it or not. Like you got Canelo becoming undisputed, you got all these young fighters. Like just imagine introducing somebody like Jaron Ennis. And I know you're high on Jaron Ennis, Jalik, but just imagine playing him in a video game and putting like a bunch of young fighters in that game. You know what I mean? That way they could relate to someone and just basically a bunch of different characters. But don't put anybody like Jake Paul or any YouTubers like that, because that would just like mess up the whole aura of the game. That would mess up the whole promotion of like these fighters. You know what I mean? Because they really need it. And just this youthful audience that would attract a lot of youthful boxing fans, because that's what boxing has lost. Like can reach out to the 20-year-olds. They could reach out to the 30-year-olds. They could even reach out to all the female audiences out there, you know? And believe it or not, the female audiences would actually have a character in the game too. You know what I mean? I don't know, like if yeah, like I think they would, you know, like just imagine putting Shields in there. Imagine putting Savannah Marshall, Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano. Like that would be crazy. And like all these different characters, man, all these different characters. Oh yeah. The new game looks lit, and I'm 50. Wow. For real, man. Like, just imagine all these streams. Like, I go on Twitch every single day, and the highest streaming games are usually like Fortnite, Call of Duty, all of these other like marquee games that have been around for a while, or like new generation games. But if there was a fight night for boxing, like that would have like one of the highest streams, believe it or not, because there's a bunch of kids, there's a bunch of young people that are like around my age in their 20s that still play the old Fight Night, like on the Xbox, where it's backwards compatible, believe it or not. These games have been going for 40 years anyways. Oh yeah, man, like believe it or not, I'm pretty sure that Mike Tyson's Punch Out had a big impact on video games and the youth back then, you know? And the video games that followed, you know, the early 2000s, like with Roy Jones on the cover, Oscar De La Hoya, if I recall. And that's when everyone was still playing boxing, and there was a lot of youthful audiences, you know, where they could actually talk about the fighters that at like what 15 or 16 years old. Like we need that back in boxing, believe it or not. So I'm all for it. The whole fight night coming back and just them being challenged overall. Big QVO to Houston, Texas from Los Angeles, California. Shout out to Los Angeles, California, man. Shout out, salute. But 1980s Mike Tyson's Punch Out. Oh yeah, definitely, man, definitely. Like I can't wait for this game and Fight Night and ESBC because right now they're kind of like clashing heads with each other, believe it or not. Because ESBC, believe it or not, is one of those like new boxing series, you know what I mean, that are in the video game industry, and they really got to step their game up. So do you remember Greatest Heavyweights on Sega? Oh no, I'm not that old, you know. Like I might be born like in the 90s, but I haven't like played those Sega games like in a while. The only ones that I probably played on was Sonic. We had consoles then, graphics were, but did exist, yeah, yeah. But ESBC versus Fight Night, who is gonna win? You know what I mean? Is it gonna be the passing of the torch? Like this is the real fight right now. This is gonna be the biggest fight in the video game industry. You know what I mean? In sports video game industry, because I noticed that there's a lot of sports games out there that not a lot of like gamers are attracted to. Believe it or not, there's like ball sports. You know, like Madden, FIFA. I know a lot of people love Madden, but compared to a combat sport, you know, like UFC or even Fight Night, like boxing, they love the boxing games a lot more. They love the UFC games a lot more. Just anything to do with combat sports, because you're hitting somebody and you're being very competitive. You know what I mean? So that's what everyone is looking for. But when you look at Fight Night, it's been around for a while, believe it or not, and I still remember like being in the early 2000s, you know, there was other games like Knockout Kings. Like if Knockout Kings was still around, they would actually still be doing pretty good, you know, because at least they would be releasing something for boxing. But I get it, I get it. Like I understand that trying to get all the whole licenses, you know what I mean? Like trying to get the fighters to sign and go through like all these loopholes to sign up all the biggest fighters, you know, like a Canelo or a Errol Spence or even a Terrence Crawford, just bringing them all in one game. Like that's a bit of a hassle in itself. And that's what's been an ongoing trend, you know what I mean? Like throughout all these years. And that's why they prolonged it for a while. Yeah, I'm 37. My first consoles were Sega and Super Nintendo. Wow, Super Nintendo. What? Hell yeah, you can build your own fighter. Oh yeah, man. If they bring that option, everyone's gonna be crazy with that. You know what I mean? Just boosting all the stats and trying to see like who's gonna be a heavyweight, cruiserweight, and starting a career mode. Can you imagine that? Starting a career mode? Let me see if anyone. Nah, not yet. But yeah, man, just imagine that like boxing, like coming back with a boxing video game and just putting all the new age characters in there. You don't even need to put like all the characters of the past. You don't need to put like Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali. It would be nice though, but if you want to build up a lot of fighters, like you should start putting like all the new era fighters, man. Put the Terrence Crawfords, put the Canelos, put the Errol Spences, everybody, man. Put Tyson Fury, put Deontay Wilder, put Usyk, put AJ, everybody, and everybody's gonna start following them a lot more, especially the youth of today. You know what I mean? Because they're very into video games. Like I've said before, constantly, man. Like, cause this is a whole different era compared to like the 1990s, the 1980s, where everybody was doing something else. Okay, they play video games for a little bit, you know, like my guy Dickie Two Guns, and including myself, of course, because I played a lot of video games like in the early 2000s, and that's kind of like my own prime era of the video games before I started getting a lot more older. And I still do video game a lot. Like I still game a lot. I have a Twitch channel, but there's a lot of people that are like thriving off of the whole Twitch saga. You know what I mean? Everything like Discord, like people have actually built themselves into millionaires off of these platforms like Twitch because of video games, of course. And that's how they're able to attract so much of the youth. That's where they're all going. That's why you don't see them on any boxing streams. You don't see them on any pay-per-views or anything like that, buying pay-per-views or anything. So if you could tap into that market, man, that would be crazy. Crazy, man. You know, like that's like everyone talks about you know, like sex appeal and trying to attract a certain audience, but I think the youth are the most powerful audience that you could attract because they're the ones that are going to be like, hey, did you buy the pay-per-view on Saturday, man? They're the ones that are coming after school to prepare for the fights this coming weekend, you know, sell out their chocolate bars, whatever they want. And we just need that kind of enthusiasm back for boxing, believe it or not, because that's what's really, really making the sport a little dry, man, believe it or not. Should be on a game that would be dope. Oh yeah, Tommy Morrison too. You could build your own fighter. Oh man, there's a lot of good fighters to pick out, man, believe it or not, from the past. I'm almost 40 and I play games like a teenager and my kids be hating because they can't beat me. Man, if I have kids, man, they're not gonna beat me. They're gonna have to take it from me, you know what I mean? On whatever game, man, that I feel like I'm very competitive at. I'm always for the future. My generation and older need to wake up and be excited. Exactly, man. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, huh. There's a lot of people that don't really like want to see innovation. They don't want to see like what's really going on, you know, like what's really attracting certain audiences nowadays. And this would impact everybody, you know, like boxing video games. Like, can you imagine them putting Clarissa Shields, them putting Layla Ali in there, and everybody can matchmake Layla Ali versus Clarissa Shields in Fight Night, in the new Fight Night in 4K on your TV, on your PS5, on your Xbox Series X. That would be crazy, you know? That would even bring in the female audiences up to boxing a lot more. And that would bring women's boxing to a whole nother level. Think about it. And there's plenty, and look, there's a lot of females on Twitch. There's a lot of females in the gaming community that are like the highest viewing streams in all of possibly in the entire internet, believe it or not. Because you got I've heard of some women gamers that are named Sniper Wolf and a bunch of like social media influencers that are like just gaming, you know what I mean? And they're just a bunch of females, you know what I mean? That are getting like the most viewership. They small brains, low IQ. It's exciting times. And that East LA chick who be boxing, last name Estrada. Yes, yes, Estrada. Mm-hmm. Ceniza. Yes, man. Just imagine that. I'd rather die at age 80 playing good computer games, smile on my face, than get 240 and moan like a exactly, man. Man, soon as I'm old, I'm still gonna be playing video games, believe it or not. I'm a big guy. Nobody's gonna tell me nothing. They're not gonna tell me, hi, you're a geek, you have no life. Man, I'll slap them. I'll slap them so hard, man. I'll knock some sense into their bitch ass, man. You know what I mean? Sniper Wolf. Yeah, I've heard of her, and I know she gets a lot of viewership. You know, like there's a bunch of like other ones. You know, who else? It's kind of hard to think of right now, but you know, like if somebody were to cover boxing, like just imagine if one of y'all like start a channel on Twitch. You know what I mean? And you're just streaming Fight Night. And based on your knowledge, y'all's knowledge, because I know that y'all got some knowledge on boxing, man, y'all could teach everybody something about it. You know what I mean? Like all the fighters that are fighting in it, you know, tell them about Joe Joyce and how he has a great jab or an underrated jab, I should say. And that's how he beat Daniel Dubois or Canelo, like, because they're really going to make Canelo a broken character, believe it or not, in the game. That's what I have a sneaky suspicion. I'm, man, I'm already stuttering. A sneaky suspicion that they're going to make Canelo a very broken character. And I bet you it's going to be very hard for them to bring in Floyd Mayweather, believe it or not, because they've been trying to get Floyd Mayweather in a boxing video game officially for a long time. They've been trying to make mods on him, you know, like in the older fight nights, you know, like with their little PCs and trying to emulate what it would be like to fight Floyd Mayweather, you know? Well, this is your chance, y'all. Like, I mean, Fight Night could be the official video game that makes everybody a lot more bigger of a star than they already are. And it makes a lot more channels grow. You know what I mean? A lot of boxing fans that are looking into it. And especially if you have a channel, you know, you could be a big streamer on Twitch. If you have like a passion for video games, you know, I've been playing video games since I was a kid. And video games has been one of my number one passions, you know, besides obviously fitness and boxing and just combat sports overall. So I'm very excited. Let's hope to see where this goes, you know, especially ESBC, because they already got a major entity going against them, and that's EA Sports. And we're really going to see what happens, you know what I mean? Because this is the mega fight right now in gaming sports, in sports gaming, I should say. ESBC versus EA Sports. So I like it, the idea of them just going against each other, man, because that's when you start seeing like a lot more competitiveness. You know, it's almost similar to what Fight Night was doing with Knockout Kings, you know, because they were clashing heads with each other. But at the same time, man, it was just two boxing games that everyone can keep in their house, and you know, and they're always like making their gameplay a lot better than the other one. And they're trying to see like which fans go to which, you know. So I can't wait to play these games in 4K. I can't wait to make my own character and seeing where this goes. You know what I mean? I can't wait to stream it, believe it or not, because I got my Twitch channel and I know that I'm going to school a bunch of people on the whole boxing. And, you know, any of my followers that want to know all the fighters, and I actually do know most of them, you know. I can't wait to teach them about Naoya Inoue. I can't wait to teach them about Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, you know. Like, it'll be crazy. Some boxing game I had a long time ago, you could fight at any weight class against each other. It took forever to drop Lennox Lewis with Oscar De La. What the fuck? Yeah, man, that's how they be. You know what I mean? Some boxing games, man, they just matchmake like the welterweights with the heavyweights. You know, like just imagine matching who. I'm trying to pick somebody. Imagine picking Julio Cesar Martinez in a match against Tyson Fury. That would be the most weirdest match ever on a game. Like Tyson Fury being like what 2 feet taller than Julio Cesar Martinez. That would be fucking crazy. But once again, y'all, let's hope this is a thing. You know what I mean? Like they're actually working on EA Sports. I'm pretty sure that they are because there's a lot going on in boxing. So we're gonna find out. Appreciate it, y'all, for stopping by. And I'm about to go right now, but I might do a live stream later. I'm not sure, but anyways, catch y'all on the next one and take care, y'all. Shout out to Dickie Two Gun. Shout out to Chinese Yoda. Shout out to Jalik the Leader. And yeah, man, we're about to see what happens, bro. All right, y'all. Oh, fantasy fight. Who wins? Tank versus Chavez Senior. Uh, we would have to play Fight Night, man, in order to find out. But appreciate it, y'all.